Hey, cousins. Hope all is well. It's the holiday season. Do your due diligence. Make sure you're practicing self care in all aspects mind, body, soul, spiritual, all the things, emotional, physical. Let's get into it. Let me tell y'all something. Bret Hart, there will be no Bret Hart slander over here on Wrestling Color Podcast. There will be no Bret Hart slander. I understand everybody feeling some kind of way because he sat down with the Johnny I Pro show in Montreal, and I immediately was front and motherfucking center. Do you hear me? Let me tell y'all something about Bret. I feel like me and him on the same wavelength, especially when he said, this is what he said. When I watched toward the end of it, and I made notes because we got to go through them. Bret Hart said, I want to take my time and explain to y'all where my mind was when I knocked Vince McMahon out. I said, the way he went through everything that happened that led up to Vince McMahon getting uppercutted and laid to the floor for 5 minutes. And you know it's true because in the DVD Wrestling with Shadows, I already told y'all, that's where Bret Hart's then wife, put a hex on Paul Leviskate and that shit locked in. I thought he was going to speak on that, but we'll tap on it. The way he was remembering it, and you could see the enjoyment and the relish. How he loved that he took that opportunity. You know, let me tell y'all something about me real quick. I ain't gonna go too deep because it was ghetto or whatever, and it was years ago. Okay, it's been years now, but I had gotten into an altercation with a significant other at the time. Okay, and it was so fast. Like something in me said, you need to take this opportunity right now. If you don't take this opportunity to beat they motherfucking ass, then you don't know what you missing out on. And I could not allow a shoulda, coulda, woulda scenario to take place. Like when I tell you, my mind did the whole cycle. I did the now, then, forever, consequence. I did everything in my mind in 2 seconds and proceeded to whoop that ass. And we mixed it up. We was mixing it up. Like and the way he was telling his story and the way I'm telling the story, I felt him. Like, I was vibing through the motherfucking screen with him. I was like, Bret, tell your motherfucking story. Because when I tell, certain people, we deep into things and we talking about all kind of stuff and that happens to come up, the other person's like, you know what? I'm so glad you was able to beat their ass because I should have beat their ass when I had the opportunity with my significant other. But, something held me back in various, whatever situations was. Listen, the moral of the story on that is, if you got an opportunity to beat somebody motherfucking ass and you know they deserve it, you better take that opportunity because Bret Hart did the same thing. We're going to dive into it. Let me go into it, right? So, Bret Hart, again, yes, I did take notes because, I love me some Bret Hart, especially old Bret Hart. He don't give a fuck. Bret Hart loves him some Stone Cold Steve Austin. Bret Hart said Stone Cold Steve Austin is a good worker. He trusts him. They had good matches. He was talking about WrestleMania 13 in their match. He smiled when he talks about Steve Austin. Okay, that's the first thing. Ain't nobody hopped on that. Bret Hart loved him some Stone Cold Steve Austin. He said that was a fantastic guy to work with. It was a good time. Okay. Bret Hart was asked about his brother Owen and if he learned anything about him, and he was like, not really, but they were 6 years apart, so he was the older brother, and he was like, we just got along and we had a good time, and he wanted him in the WWF. Bret Hart wanted Owen in the WWF because he felt that WWF, at the time, that's what it was called, at the WWF was, the pinnacle of pro wrestling, and for the most part it still is. So we're not even gonna sit here and lie about it, right? So he said, I'm just a guy in a tag team with, Nine Hard, and it is what it is. I ain't got no pull like that, but I'm gonna try to pull you in and get you where you need to be so we can make this money and be a family or whatever the case may be. He loves the entertainment aspect of the pro wrestling. He loves the choreographed stuff. He loves to go in and just entertain. He said, pro wrestling, you're not supposed to get injured. If you can help it, you're not supposed to be getting fucked up in pro wrestling. And I agree, it's pro wrestling. It's choreographed. Why are my teeth on the mat and I'm bleeding? Why is my motherfucking foot behind my head and my knees and shit cracked out, right? Stuff happens, but for the most part, it's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be a dance. That's what he said. On Jake the Snake Roberts and Hulk Hogan, he said they were two of the biggest pieces of shit in wrestling. And I'm going to tell you why he said that. He said because all they do is take, and they never gave. They never pulled nobody up. They never tried to get nobody over. He said they just was in there taking, and just dogging motherfuckers out. Period. That's probably why Jake the Snake got that badass look, child. And we already know what Hulk Hogan at. Hey, I'm just saying. All right. So they asked who would he like to have worked with, because he didn't work with a lot of people, of course, because his prime was in the 90s, super early 2000s, late, most of the late 80s and stuff like that. So he said he would like to, mind you, I think this is very important. The audience was talking to Bret at the same time. So he's answering the audience and shit. And the audience was full of the drama. The audience was there for the gossip. They was in that motherfucking seat like, yes, tell it, give it to him. They was going up. When he said Hulk Hogan and Jake the Snake Roberts was two pieces of shit, the motherfuckers gave a whole applause, okay? Because I was clapping too. He said he would have loved to work with Kurt Angle. That was the first person that came off his mind. He said he would have loved to work with Kurt Angle. It's just something about the way he works in the ring. And for the most part, Kurt is very enjoyable to watch. So if anyone's like trying to get into wrestling and you got to give them like something to watch, I would definitely say Kurt Angle. He's fun to watch. Yes, he is. He said Chris Jericho. He said he would have loved to work with Dwayne Johnson more. When I tell you that crowd was crickets, they was not here for that. He said John Cena. He said him being from Canada and John Cena being American, they would have ate the girls up. He said we would have ate the girls up. Way better than that Montreal shit we had going on. He said me and John, we would have ate the girls up. He said Rey Mysterio, he stopped right there. And he went all the way. And he said Rey Mysterio is just awesome. Great. Wanted to work with him. He said, I would have loved to just had a Rey Mysterio match in my repertoire. Like, if people like pull up my portfolio and they be like, oh, he fought him. Oh, Rey Mysterio. He said, because he never got to do all the high flying flippy shit, but that's his thing. He said he loved the masked wrestlers. He loved watching luchadores and all that stuff they got done in Mexico. He said that's one thing he would have loved to have done was be more international and more open with his wrestling portfolio. But he gave 15 years to motherfucking WWE and they do him any kind of way. We gonna touch on it. Then this is where everybody was like, what he talking about? The audience was like, MJF. He was like, who is that? They was like, MJF. He said, I don't know who that is. Tell me who MJF is. And they was like, that's the guy from AEW. He said, listen, I don't even watch wrestling like that, so I really don't know who that is. Genuinely don't know who the fuck MJF is, and that's fine. Like, the fuck? He said he would have begged Eric Bischoff to wrestle Rey Mysterio and guys like that, but Eric Bischoff is a bitch and wouldn't do it. Again, the audience was still calling out names for him to wrestle. Other names that came up was Brock Lesnar, and I'm gonna say this about Brock Lesnar. I'm gonna say this. Let me get a little drink or something because my throat. Hold on. That was so good. Oh my god. Get you one of those. I got this. It's a what's it called? A LO from Sam's Club. And I got it for $20 because these cups, it's like one of those cups that hold the water and keep it cold all night. I got it for $20. These cups was $60. And somehow I told that girl, listen, it's over there for $20. Anyway, she gave it to me, the two cups for $20, one for me and one for my son. When I tell you, I be so parched and like bone dry at 3 o'clock in the morning. I keep this shit by my bed. Y'all better get it. I don't know if it happens because I'm getting older and just, drying up or whatever. But anyway, Brock Lesnar. Let me say this about Brock Lesnar. Set aside for a second, okay? Brock Lesnar is a good wrestler. He's a good wrestler for the most part. Like, in his older times, you getting an F5, you getting a little suplex, you getting a little, whoop de whoop. But in his younger days, which is what he was talking about in his prime, Brock Lesnar was a very enjoyable wrestler to watch. Okay, boom. AJ Styles was thrown up, and he basically said how he feels. He said this: I want to work with the professionals, not like Goldberg. He said Goldberg ain't shit. I don't give a fuck. And this is what the audience said. They said, yes, Goldberg ain't shit. It was the audience that was like, we don't give a fuck about Goldberg. Okay, Bret was like, I'm for real. He's not a good worker. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. So it don't even matter what y'all talking about. That man kicked me in my shit and took my fucking career. And he has all of the right to feel how he wants to feel. He was asked about today's wrestling. He said wrestling is popular and is booming. And I'm going to give him a little pushback on that. Wrestling is not popular, it's not booming. Okay, pro wrestling is fighting for the same 3 to 5 million people that want to watch it, all right? Netflix got about 1 kabillion people. HBO Max, in terms of AEW, got about 400 million people. And all they pulling in is 1 million to 2 million. Like, give me a break. Now, is it making money? Yes, because they price gouging and, fucking with the numbers. I don't think wrestling is as popular as everybody thinks it is. Only reason why you think it's popular is because you like pro wrestling and you look for it. If you didn't watch pro wrestling, you would not be seeing shit about pro wrestling. I'm just going to be honest about that. But he said today's wrestlers are actors pretending to be wrestlers. He said he just misses just good, realistic wrestling. This is where Sheamus got hit with a stray. He wasn't saying nothing wrong. He said Sheamus don't know how to throw a punch. He said when Sheamus throws a punch, he opens his hands and slaps, and he doesn't like that. He said back when he was punching, he made the punch look like it was real. I do agree with that. Some of them punches and shit, they missing. They not even trying. When I'm watching that wrestling in the 90s and the late 80s and stuff, when I was getting into it and stuff, the whole point was, damn, they really in the ring whooping each other ass. Now you can literally see them missing. They don't even give a fuck. Maxine Dupree was throwing punches and not even touching nothing. I done seen your favorite wrestler, male or female, completely miss moves and all kinds of shit. That's what he said he missed, and I could dig it. I could dig it. Basically, Bret Hart misses kayfabe. That's it. He said, I just missed the art and the entertainment of pro wrestling. I just miss watching decent wrestling. And I understand. Now, I don't like these long fucking matches. Watching NXT, why the fuck am I watching a 15-minute match? I'm not here for that. I'm with Bret on that. Give me a little bit of little yang, little cute, 5, 10, 10-minute tops. And that should be an Iron Man match. Why am I watching 15 minutes on a motherfucking regular day? Like, I don't like that either. Give me more story. More story. So Sheamus got, he got a little straight, but it wasn't nothing heavy duty. He wasn't disrespecting Sheamus. He was just saying he didn't care for his punching. Then when we get to 56 minutes and 20 minutes, this is the bombshell. Now, it's not really a bombshell, because I'm going to tell you right now, if you've been listening to me, I already told you Vince McMahon is bisexual. I've been saying that for years. Anytime you got dildos in your office and you name them after big giant ass wrestlers, specifically Brock Lesnar and fucking Bobby Lashley, dildos, okay? The way Vince McMahon was up Shawn Michaels' ass all those years, I would not put it past him. The way Paul Levesque to this day, even now that Shawn, he ain't as handsome and hot as he used to be, Paul Levesque still be taking that man's face and putting his mouth on Shawn Michaels. So imagine Shawn Michaels, small, 5'9", with all that thick, long, beautiful hair, coming out there talking, I think I'm cute. I'm sexy. Them motherfuckers was going up for Shawn Michaels. I believe everything fucking Bret Hart said. Yes, they was fucking, because he said, he said when Shawn Michaels was talking about how he lost his smile, and he was crying or whatever, he was like, I'm believing the shit. Me and him and Undertaker, he said, me and Undertaker was back there watching this on the damn TV. I'm believing the shit. He said, then all of a sudden this motherfucker go do a full flip and land on his knees. And I'm like, oh, this is a bunch of bullshit. He said Vince McMahon was over in that corner and he saw one tear come down his eye. And the first thing he said was, he looked at Vince and he looked at Sean and he was like, these two motherfuckers is fucking. He said they fucking. Because why is we so invested? Why is we so invested? When I tell you, I laughed because that's time when I see people doing stuff like that, whether it's male or female, and I'm like, are they fucking? I ask y'all that all the time when I'm doing the not really reviews because people like, what's the old girl, Ghoulie, a CPA? I forgot her name, right? Just that for Kiana James. How this bitch still working? Who's she back there fucking? That, like, I need to know. And 9 times out of 10, they back there fucking. Because that's what Becky said. We going to get down with what Becky said. That is the hot topic. And I believe it. Yup. Yes, they probably was fucking finger blasting and spinning all on each other's stuff. Hell the fuck yeah. Yup. Bret Hart said, yeah. Ain't no way a man gonna be feeling all that kind of way and gonna do me the way they did me if they not going up in the bedroom together. Okay. Then he was talking about the Montreal school job. Apparently, it's the anniversary. And I'm gonna say this: Bret Hart feelings is fucking hurt, and he said it. He said my feelings is hurt because I gave this man 15 years of my life. You couldn't tell me shit about Vince McMahon. This is what Bret Hart essentially said. I'm just gonna give you a roundabout. He said, you can't tell me shit about Vince McMahon. I gave that man everything I fucking had in the ring. And for some reason, he kept trying to fuck me over. And then this young dude come, you know what I mean, good looking. We all was good looking dudes. But this one, he act like they was fucking. Then all I said to Vince, he said, all I said to Vince was, I'm not dropping no title to a motherfucker that don't respect me. I will drop this title to whoever, but not this motherfucker. And don't disrespect me in front of my hometown. Montreal's good to me. I went there, had a good match. Don't do that to me. That is all he asked Vince McMahon. And what Vince McMahon do? Paul Levesque already confirmed he was in cahoots. They got together and fucked up the thing. And when I tell you that footage, I can always cover my eyes because the way Bret Hart brought up that phlegm and spit that shit, just thinking about it, oh my God. So the best part also was when he took his time and he described how he knocked hell out of Vince McMahon. And you know he did because you saw him stumbling out that locker room with that big ass black eye, and then like maybe a week or two later, he was on talking to Larry King or doing like the rounds and stuff because it was a big deal back then. And he had that black eye shit. Bret was like, everybody, we was locked in. We was doing pull aparts and whatever. He said, listen, I know if I would have went up, somebody would have grabbed my hand. This motherfucker would have had like a fairy tale ending. He said, not today. I had to get my hands on that motherfucker. He said, I went ahead and uppercut that motherfucker. Dead in his shit. He dropped to the floor. He said he looked like a starfish on the floor and he was fucked up for about 5 minutes and they trying to get him back together. And he said Sean was over in the corner with his hands covering his face crying. And he was like, Sean was scared as fuck because it's a bunch of big ass dudes. The tension is crazy. He was like, he walked over to Sean and he said Sean kind of looked up because I guess he was expecting to get knocked the fuck out too. And he said, Sean, thanks for a good match. And that was the story. Okay, then he said his Jim Neidhart, you know, was his tag team family or whatever. He was like, everybody in there all tense and bunched up. And Jim was like, well, at least they're not talking about me no more. Because he said Jim had threw a TV at an agent and ended up getting fired. And I guess that was the hot topic. He said, they ain't going to be talking about me no more. He punched the motherfucking boss in the face. That alone gives reverence. And I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to wrap it up. I keep saying that. The way he was telling that story, just go back. He closed his eyes and he remembered every single fucking detail. I felt that because I said, baby, I remember when I had to do what I had to do. I remember when I had to do what I had to do to that nigga. Ooh, and it was a good time. And I don't regret it. He said that was the best motherfucking punch I ever threw. Bret Hart. Baby, I understand because that was the best punches and scratches and biting I ever did, baby. Love it. Give a round of applause to Bret Hart. Won't be no Bret Hart slander. I don't give a fuck. He could complain. He could say what he want. That man entertained us. They fucked him over. He lost his career because of, you know, not being safe. He ain't bitter. He's telling stories. Y'all fucking pay for it to hear it, and he giving y'all what he wants. Love it. Get into it. Get into it.